What's good? It's Sam here, and I wanted to talk about one of the things that I'm considering in the process of purchasing another rental property, and that is the utilities. And you're like, why would you consider that? You're just going to rent it out, Sam. Just have the tenants pay that. So great, that's a good idea, and that is a alternative, right? And if you compare that to something else, then you get to see which one is better. So if I were to do it myself in Massachusetts, a lot of the properties don't have ductwork. They will have some type of heating system, like propane or natural gas. Most of them are natural gas that I have looked at, and then they'll also have an electrical system. So you have two companies you're dealing with. You're dealing with a company to bring in the natural gas to heat the house, and then you're dealing with a National Grid, the electrical company, to use electric. So if you think about it from the standpoint of being a business owner, right? You have, say, your mortgage, your insurances, and everything, your explicit costs every single month for the interest, the taxes, the insurance, the mortgage payment, everything is $1,500. And then there's, say, $300 worth of utilities per month for electrical. And obviously your rate is going to be different depending on your usage and where you live and many other factors. So depending on if a unit is split, you might have like a duplex or a triplex that the owner pays, and then they try to bill back to the tenants, or the owner might just pay and just try to charge a little bit higher in rent. I'm sure more than likely you may have seen apartments where everything is included, and that could be one of the factors why. If it is not separately metered, then it is harder to bill back to the tenant. So the landlord's like, fuck this shit. I'm just going to pay for it, and I'll just charge a little bit higher of a rate for my my unit because everything is included. So my thinking is, if I'm going to be paying $300 a month, or indirectly just charging my tenants $300 a month for utilities, why not capture some of that revenue myself? Think vertically integrated for, say, Tesla, and they are going upstream and downstream in terms of what they need to produce their vehicles. Think of the same thing and the benefits that Tesla might get, but as a business owner for a property, right? So you have these two other, in Massachusetts, you have these two other systems. In, say, Florida, on a newer build, you might just have one, and it would be the electrical system. But on the electrical side, you can do solar. Now, I don't know if it's a misconception, people are lazy, it's just not interesting to people, they don't have the money. I'm not sure what it is, but if you take, and then if you're interested, let me know, and I'll also do one on the heating system, but I'll probably do one on that anyway. But make sure to press that subscribe button, please. Anyways, so the solar, there's a federal 30% tax credit, which is different than a tax deduction. One is far more valuable than the other. If you don't know the difference, fucking Google it. Or make sure to press that subscribe button, and maybe I'll make a video on it. Or just ask me in the comments and I'll explain it. And so you get a 30% tax credit for the state of Massachusetts. You also get a state tax credit of $1,000. That's the max, I believe. And then I don't know what the program is called, like Smart Home or Smart Energy or something along those lines, where in the, you get paid to install solar. And that's, say, maybe like it's on a monthly basis, and it could be maybe at a max of like $100 or $125 for a gigantic system or something. So even if you figure $25 a month or $50 a month, you're getting paid to install solar. So you're like, whoa, that seems pretty good, but the system's $40,000. Okay, well, that's okay. 30% on $40,000 is $12 grand. So you get to write off $12,000 of taxes in your first year just on the federal level. Then you also get a $1,000 tax credit from the state of Massachusetts. So you get to write off $1,000 worth of state taxes in year one. You can also finance that over, say, maybe 10 years. And if it's a business, then that's going to be a tax deduction for your payments. Your interest, I believe, don't double check with your CPA, but I believe it's just going to be the interest portion of your payments. So you're just going to have your $40,000 like solar setup amortized over 10 years at whatever interest rate they finance it at. And if you know an amortization schedule, it's kind of like a diagonal line from the left corner to the right corner, as in the first few years you're going to be paying a larger portion of the total payment is going to go towards interest than it is principal. And as that you get to that 7, 8, 9 years, it's going to be reversed, and you're going to have a much larger portion of your total monthly payment going towards paying down the principal instead of going towards interest. So the interest portion you can write off. And so say if you're paying $300 a month, right? And in year one you have 70% of that, and more than likely it's going to be higher, but just being conservative, if you have, say, $300 a month, that's $3,600 a year you're putting towards your electric, right? And now you're still paying that because you're just not going to be paying National Grid, you're going to be paying yourself. So there's two things to consider there. You get the principal pay down every single month, so you get your $75 of principal pay down, meaning the actual loan amount is coming down by a small amount. So if you figure it's a 70-30 split in year one, and just for, say, easy math, you were paying $3,000 for the year in terms of the total utility cost. That's 700 times 3 is 2,100. So $2,100 is going to be interest that you can write off. $900 is going to go towards equity in the system now, and that adds to the ROI calculation. So now you've got your 30% tax credit, you've got your state here, Massachusetts, $1,000 tax credit. You have the smart energy, whatever program that pays you over the course of 10 years, a small monthly amount, $25 to 100 something bucks per month. So you have those three things. You have the interest on the loan for the financing you get to write off, and then you also get depreciation. And you could break this down in multiple different ways. You could try to figure out a way to accelerate the depreciation. If you don't know what any of this means, maybe you should watch some other videos or comment below, and I can open up Pandora's box on that. But you could try to accelerate depreciation through breaking down the panels from the actual hardware and maybe the screws versus the electrical, and breaking down on all the subcomponents of the system and having a separate depreciation schedule for each one, and then coming up with an aggregate number for the year, because maybe I haven't looked it up yet, but the depreciation table for an asset like that maybe just hypothetically is 10 years in a straight line. If it's a $40,000, what is that, $4,000 per year? If you break them down into the subcomponents through a cost segregation study, you could maybe get that down to, say, 5 years. And if you took $40,000 system over and you depreciated that over 5 years, what is that, $8,000? 8 times 5 is 40. Yeah, so that's $8,000. So you go from a $4,000 depreciation expense you could take on your taxes in year one to a $8,000. So that's another piece of the puzzle to add into that calculation. So you've got the federal, now I'm going to wrap everything up. You've got the federal tax credit. It's not a deduction, it's a credit. Google that or ask me below and I'll explain it. You've got the state credit for $1,000, and you've got the smart energy home, whatever it is, that provides a payment to you in perpetuity up to 10 years on a monthly basis. You've got the interest deduction, which is not a tax credit. Again, Google that. And then you also have the depreciation of the asset. So Let me know where I'm missing something in this analysis, or where my thinking is wrong. What is incorrect about my analysis in terms of the process of running through this. I'm very curious to know. Let me know down below in the comments. As always, on the way down to the comments, make sure you smash that like button and press subscribe so you get to see other videos like this in the future. Peace.